I do want to thank all of you for being here. I believe I've had an opportunity to speak with most of you or with your organizations over the course of the last few days. For those of you who I have not met or have not spoken to, my name is Alan Swolina. I'm a regional coordinator for the Jonathan. Starting the remarks this evening is another longtime friend of mine from this part of the state, Michelle Kessler of the United Food and Commercial Workers, 1776. Actually, a little story of Michelle. Yeah, give Michelle a hand.
I am so proud to be here today to introduce Jonathan Saidel in front of the champion of labor. What an appropriate Thank you all for being here. It's an important thing for us to let Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and northeastern Pennsylvania know organized labor is strongly behind Jonathan. Yes.
I'm going to take her with me everywhere I go now. You know, it's an honor to be, and it's almost like a religious symbol when you think about the history of the United States and the labor movement to be in front of this statue. I had the honor of being endorsed last month by the United Mine Workers, and it was the day after that tragedy in West Virginia. You should know that the mine in which the 21 workers were killed was a non-union mine. And that maniac, that bastard, had a press conference who owns that mine and said that he doesn't want to be union because the cost of the life insurance plus the OSHA penalties does not add up to the safety requirements of being a United Mine Workers mine. That guy will never see the light of day in Pennsylvania as long as there's a breath in my body. Good. People like that need to be excluded from who we are. And I've been honored and I'm humbled by being the unanimously endorsed by the AFL-CIO and every union that is here and unions that are not represented here have endorsed me. I mean, I am easy to figure out. I mean, I'm just a row house kid who got an opportunity to get an education, went into the Army, came back, and made the best that I could. Everything that I've gotten in my life is because of the taxpayers of this state, the people that cared about me on my street and in my community. And to me, being an elected official is a way of paying back. And I think there are people running for high office in this state that have forgotten that. And I think Mr. Corbett has forgotten that. He's forgotten that, you know, it is very easy to get used to being driven around by a police officer and people put lights and sirens on and you can go past anything you want. The key is to always remember who you are. For the 16 years that I was controller of Philadelphia, if I ever wanted to remember who I was, I would call my mom and dad. Because then in a minute, in the middle of the night, I'd have to go get a corned beef sandwich with my father. Just to prove that I'm not a big shot. You think you're a big shot, and then she'd hang up on me. But you know, that's important. I do have roots in Scranton. After the Second World War, University of Scranton had a program with the Jesuits that if you were a wounded combat veteran that received a medal, you had an opportunity to come to this school just by taking an exam. And my father took the exam, came up, and my family spent 4 years here as a commitment that the Jesuits had to take care of wounded combat veterans. They got my father a job at a shoe repair place, and my mother got a job in a 5 and 10 cent store. And in his 3rd year here, he finally got money to get a car. It was like $200, and the priest came out and blessed the car. 2 weeks later, it was an accident. They sent him a note saying sometimes it works, sometimes it works. And I say that because it is a small incident, but it is an example of what we have to do for each other. I'm not Catholic, I'm not a Christian, I'm Jewish. My family hails from the Middle East. But the reality is that the Jesuits actually taught me something early on, and that was you have a responsibility to help your brother, be your brother's keeper. You have a responsibility to help people, even in some small way, but all of us in our own way, in a large way, for the people that we care about. Now, I'm 150% labor. And I will tell you this, if I become Lieutenant Governor of Pennsylvania and labor says X and the rest of the government says Y, I'm for X. I'm for X because that's the only way I know. Because who else but you understands the needs of your brothers and sisters? I mean, Republicans worry about the foreign exchange rate of money. We worry about the fact that our next door neighbor was laid off. know, they don't care that a plant moves to Canada or Mexico or now Red China, which is an amazing thing for me since I served in the Army in 1968, that now people are moving their companies to Red China. We care about the fact that we're losing jobs. I mean, real jobs, head of household jobs. Not everyone can work in a nail salon. That's not a job. You can't raise a family that way. And if people can raise a family by having a real head of household job, they can pay their health care, they can pay their real estate tax, they can pay for their water and sewer, they can pay for their heat and light, and they can continue to be part of the community. Corbett doesn't believe that. You know, he thinks people want to be unemployed because they get a check. You know, he's quoted as saying that if he was governor, he wouldn't have taken the stimulus money. That's $27 billion. That's equivalent to 1 year's budget. And that money's being used all over Pennsylvania as a way to fix the properties that we have, to give people an opportunity to get some work, to extend unemployment, so that when we fix ourselves and accept responsibility for our economy, as we move forward, we won't need that stimulus money anymore. We cannot allow massive unemployment. We are our brother's keeper, and we have that responsibility. But the Republicans, they don't think about that. They don't care if it's a child that's hungry. They don't care if a child doesn't have health care. They don't care if a child doesn't get an education, because they're sending their kids somewhere else. Well, that's not the way we grew up. That's not the way we grew up. Somewhere in the public school system, there could be a child that could cure cancer, or be the best carpenter they can be, or be the best union leader they can be. Every child deserves that opportunity. You know, when I was younger, and I'm a grandfather now, with kids are 27 to 40, and my granddaughter 2 years old, I thought I did all this on my own. Obviously, I became a CPA and a lawyer. It must have been on my own. I went to school on my own. I got a job on my own. But the great thing about getting older is you begin to attain wisdom. Well, you begin to realize none of this is on your own. It's because of a variety of people that have helped you, millions of people that help you that don't even know you. And I'm running for office because I miss that opportunity every morning to get up and know I got a chance to make a meaningful change in people's lives, for the good, for the benefit of all. And if I'm given that opportunity, I will work for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Not like these Republicans who don't care about who we are. They act like the future of Pennsylvania was in its past. Well, if that's the case, then leave my state. Give us an opportunity to make a future for everyone. And it's not rocket science. The way to beat people is to get one more vote than the next guy. That's what this is all about. And I find all over Pennsylvania, people go, well, I don't know, should I be involved? Well, hell. This year, you're going to primary, we'll decide who represents us in the general election for the Senate of the United States of America, the most powerful deliberative body in the history of the world. Since the Romans, the most powerful. Who the governor and lieutenant governor candidates are. Who will represent us in Congress, state reps, state senate, even local offices. Every one of these are so important. And one thing I've learned by being an elected official is people shouldn't walk to the polls. They should run to the polls. They should run to the polls. And we've got to make sure, certainly as union brothers and sisters, that people have to understand there's a difference. There's a skewed difference with the Tea Party people. People that spew venom and hatred. And based on their definition, none of us are Americans. None of us are Americans. I don't know who they think is Americans, but none of the people that I'm looking at today will be considered Americans. They're wrong, and we're right. And the way to beat them is to beat them at the ballot box. That's what a democracy is all about. So I ask you to go out, do what we got to do, kick some butt for him and for everybody you love. Now let's go down the block. The beer's on me and the food's on me. Let's have some fun.